Welcome to this explainer on the fitness illusion and the heart's hidden terrain. Today, we're tracing a truly fascinating parallel journey. It's like we're moving between the macro and the micro. On one hand, you've got the outward, intense physical challenge of conquering high-altitude mountain peaks. And on the other, we're navigating the microscopic, heavily calcified terrain of the human heart. It's a story about human endurance, medical marvels, and those hidden warnings our bodies give us if we know how to listen. So let's dive right in. We're kicking things off with a pretty shocking realization from our subject today, Cheng-Ho Chua. Now, Cheng-Ho is a super active guy, a retired engineer who literally spends his days trekking all over the globe. But he discovered something firsthand. Outward physical stamina, it is absolutely no guarantee of internal arterial health. Think about it. Cardio fitness is how well your body performs on the outside, but cardio health is the actual physical condition of the arteries supplying your heart on the inside. To really grasp this contrast, let's look at his epic physical achievements right next to a pretty sobering medical reality. On one hand, you have a man hiking in incredibly low oxygen environments. We're talking places like the Yubing Glacier in China, at nearly 4,000 meters, where every single breath is a major struggle. And yet, just before that trip, he actually failed a routine treadmill stress test. No breathlessness, his legs felt completely fine, but subtle ECG abnormalities forced the test to end early. It was this quiet warning of a hidden danger. And there was a really subtle clue here. Despite having zero chest pain and zero physical limitations during his runs, Cheng-Ho's smartwatch had been showing a slow, steady decline in his VO2 max over several years. Naturally, he tried running harder to fix it, right? But the numbers just kept dipping. This was a quiet whisper from his body, a tiny digital breadcrumb telling him that his heart was working progressively harder just to maintain his baseline fitness. Section 1. Anatomy of a blockage, the heart's hidden danger. Let's look at exactly what was causing this silent decline in his performance, because the reality of what was happening inside his chest is truly wild. This illustrates the exact location of the problem. It's an intricate, absolutely critical crossroads of the heart. What we're looking at is the left main coronary artery, or LMCA, which acts as the primary highway for the heart's blood supply. Now, this highway divides into two major branches, the LCX and the LAD, the latter often ominously called the widowmaker. This split is a highly complex junction, and wouldn't you know it, it's exactly where Cheng-Ho's silent issue was hiding. When his medical team performed an angiogram, the results were undeniable. The scan revealed a heavily calcified 74% blockage precisely at this complex intersection, along with a 59% narrowing just above it. I mean, think about that. This plaque was silently restricting oxygen flow, while Cheng-Ho was literally out there climbing glaciers and traversing high-altitude mountain passes. So how exactly does this happen? Well, it's atherosclerosis. It's the slow, silent accumulation of cholesterol that forms these hardened, calcified plaques inside the arterial wall. And this doesn't just happen overnight. We're talking decades. Here is the really harsh truth. Even with a flawless diet, religious exercise routines, and peak physical conditioning, age and genetics can still cause these plaques to harden like concrete, millimeter by excruciating millimeter. Section 2. Cracking stone with sound. Intravascular lithotripsy. Because this blockage was heavily calcified and right at a delicate junction, traditional balloon methods just weren't going to cut it. To fix this, the medical team had to perform an incredible feat of microengineering before any permanent stents could even be placed. We are honestly so incredibly fortunate to live in the modern medical era. Just a generation ago, this kind of complex, hardened calcification at a major junction, it might have strictly required open-heart bypass surgery. But thanks to decades of relentless medical innovation, from balloon angioplasty in the 70s to stents in the 90s, all the way up to advanced techniques in the 2020s, we now have a remarkable, minimally invasive solution. That modern solution is called intravascular lithotripsy, or IVL. It's actually a lot like breaking up kidney stones. The cardiologist delivered bursts of sonic pressure waves directly inside the artery. Basically, a special balloon is positioned, inflated slightly, and it emits acoustic waves. These waves safely and selectively fracture the hardened calcium without damaging the soft tissue of the artery. And while lying wide awake on the table, Cheng-Ho felt this as just a series of gentle, rhythmic taps deep inside his chest. They were literally cracking stone with sound. Amazing, right? Section 3. Rebuilding the crossroads. Restoring blood flow. With the calcium safely fractured and the artery walls softened, the team could now reconstruct this vital intersection. This brings us to the next phase of this incredible microengineering project. Navigating an artery that is literally only millimeters wide, they first used intravascular ultrasound, or IVUS, to map the vessel from the inside out, getting exact 3D measurements. Next, they deployed two specialized drug-eluting stents. A standard Synergy stent went to the circumflex artery, and a heavy-duty Synergy Megatron stent was used for the larger left main artery. Overlapping them perfectly was critical here to provide structural strength without creating any unnecessary bulk. Now, I want you to pay close attention to this next step, because it's a critical part of the procedure called the kissing balloons technique. I want to clear up a common misconception here and be super precise. During this step, the guide wires are safely positioned inside both the LAD and LCX arteries. Always inside, never outside. With the wires safely inside both branches, two balloons are positioned and inflated simultaneously. This simultaneous kissing inflation reshapes the intersection, ensuring blood can flow perfectly into both vital pathways without compromising either side. Following the kissing balloons, they perform one final maneuver called the proximal optimization technique, or POT for short. Using a short, larger diameter balloon, they enlarge the upper portion of the stent to perfectly match the natural, wider diameter of the left main artery. It's like the perfect finishing touch. It ensures the stent conforms flawlessly to the artery wall, fully restoring optimal, unrestricted blood flow. Section 4. The Road to Recovery. Rebuilding Confidence. The 2.5-hour procedure was a total success. The physical pipeline was fixed. But as Chen-Ho would quickly learn, the physiological repair of the artery was really only the beginning of his journey. For a highly active individual like him, the hardest part of recovery actually wasn't physical, it was psychological. Yes, the physical healing involved the stents integrating into the artery wall and inflammation naturally reducing over a few weeks. But the psychological healing? That meant overcoming a sudden, lingering fear of his own heart. He had to learn how to not panic when his heart rate naturally rose just from doing something like climbing a simple flight of stairs. I absolutely love this quote from his journey. Recovery is measured in confidence, not kilometers. Trust in his own heart had to be rebuilt slowly. He didn't just rush right back out to run marathon distances. Instead, he rebuilt his foundation through the steady, patient accumulation of completely uneventful daily walks, basically allowing his mind to trust the medical marvel that was now living inside his chest. And you know what? That patience paid off beautifully. Just weeks later, pacing himself carefully under the tropical Indonesian sun, Chen-Ho conquered the 800 steps to the summit of Padar Island. Sure, it wasn't Everest, but to him, it felt like the greatest summit of his life. It was the absolute physical proof he needed that modern medicine, paired with early detection, had successfully given him his active life back. So, as we wrap up this explainer, it leaves us with a pretty provocative question to reflect on. If outward fitness can so easily mask inward danger, are you paying attention to your body's subtle whispers? Things like a small dip in your smartwatch data or a slightly off routine test, before they become shouts. Investigating those small changes and utilizing the marvels of modern medical technology really is the true key to ensuring a long, adventurous, and fully lived life. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. And remember, always listen to what your heart is telling you.